The following live stream has been approved for restricted audiences only. It will definitely contain strong language and maybe some adult themes. Almost certainly. Viewer inebriation is advised.
Good evening, happy Friday, and welcome to Last Call, where tonight I am going to pick up on a topic from 2 weeks ago because I don't feel we ever really got to the point I wanted to get to. See, we talked about walking away from the franchises and entertainment companies we had loved but have been killed by cultural vandals, and my intent was to lead to some very positive alternatives. We never really got there. I blame the booze. Anyway, Netter, Boomer, and I have been watching various streaming shows coming out of the East, and they are really, really good, and we think you'll like them too, so we're going to tell you about them. So get comfortable, top off your glasses, and tell me what you're sipping on in the chat, and we'll get this Canarble Wagon rolling right after an expression of gratitude and an intro song.
Last Call is streamed before a live audience.
Good evening and salute. Welcome. Good to see all of you. So tonight's drink is brought to me by. Now, I'm gonna make another plea to you guys. If you guys do buy me a drink, and of course the link is up here at the top of the chat. If you do want to buy me a drink and either request a song or request that I don't sing a song, either way I will honor that. Please let me know how I can associate the name of the person that bought me the drink with the name that I see here in the chat. Because, like, for example, John, who I toasted last week, is JPRPH1. This I know now. But I'm going to have to. I don't want to out somebody's name who may or may not want to be known as being associated with my channel because I'm a subversive individual. I might be on some watch lists. You might not want to be associated with me by name. So William B. Salute. Thank you so much for this drink tonight. And please, let me know if I would know you by a different name here in the stream. But I am drinking, and you see it right over my shoulder here. This is not a sponsored stream, by the way. Sandman Founders Reserve Ruby Port. It is a port. So if, I end up looking like Thufir Howitt by the midway point of the stream, well, you'll know it's by will alone I put my mind in motion. I'm hoping that most of y'all got that slightly deep dive reference. It is a port. But as I pointed out to Netter, it's not as dry as many of the ports that I have had. It's a little bit sweeter. Now, I know they describe ports as being sweet, but honestly, they almost never are. They're always very heavy and a little bit mouth-puckeringly dry. This one is really nice. This would actually make a nice dessert wine. And that's what I'm drinking tonight. And although no specific song was requested, I hope you don't mind me doing one I've done not too very long ago, but thematically I think it really fits with the topic for tonight. And I just realized that since I was in the green room, I did not put the speakers on. So this is the opposite problem that I usually have. Give me just a second here. There we go. And here we go. Out of the tree of life, I just picked me a plum. You came along and everything's starting to hum. Still, it's a real good bet. The best is yet to come. The best is yet to come, and babe, won't it be fine? You think you've seen the sun, but you ain't seen it shine. Wait till the warm-up's underway. Wait till our lips have met. And wait till you see that sunshine day. You ain't seen nothing yet. The best is yet to come, and babe, won't it be fine? The best is yet to come the day you're mine. Come the day you're mine. I'm gonna teach you to fly. We've only tasted the wine. We're gonna drain the cup dry. Probably the bottle too. Wait till your charms are right for these arms to surround. You think you've flown before, but baby, you ain't left the ground. Wait till you're locked in my embrace. Wait till I draw you near. Wait till you see that sunshine place. Ain't nothing like it here. The best is yet to come, and babe, won't it be fine? The best is yet to come the day you're mine. Come the day you're mine. And you're gonna be mine. Salute. There you go. Thank you, William B. That one's for you, and really, it's for all of you. It's for all of you, but Samuel Proctor. I know you probably tuned out when I started singing. Let us. You know what? I really like what Netter did. She was following, the example set by deleted scenes. I think I'm gonna say hi to the chat before I bring the panel in, because I just kind of dig that. It kind of works. So let me scroll all the way back up here. Wow, a lot of chat going on here. I love seeing that. So first in was David Pensack. Fasten your seatbelts. The Canarble Wagon is coming through. Salute. Thank you so much. And then CK, hello. Welcome. So glad you're here. Salute to our Maitre D. Thank you so much for being here, my friend. Of course, I love you too, Netter. I didn't get a chance to type it in, but I'll bring you in just a second. Evelyn Hampton. Salute and chapla. Welcome. Big Al Presents. We're going to have a lot of fun with him tomorrow as we get a little diesel punk action in with the Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow. Keely Chow, hey, good to see you, my friend. Sir Torrin Clegane, good evening. Let's see here. Jesse Guajardo, hello there. I hope everyone had a good day. Yes, I had a great day, and I hope all of y'all did too. The bird woman of our community and of YouTube, Connie Cleary, salute. So glad you're here. JPRPH1 was, bet your ears were itching because I was talking about you. Mr. Londell's Groovy Movies, Tally Ho. Lester San Jose, The Skeptic Tank. Thank you so much for being here, my friend. Let's see here. I want to make sure I don't miss anybody. Gorilla's Random Thoughts. Hey, I'll be joining after my review of my favorite Walton's episode, The Ghost Story. Well, when you get back from Walton's Mountain, we'll probably still be here. And let's see here. Want to, again, make sure I do not miss anybody. Logical Spock. Peace and long life. And Nate. What's up, Pacellis? What up, Nate? Good to see you, my friend. And I think that brings us up to date. So now we will bring in the chat, starting with my lovely and talented Netter of Netters Network. How you doing, my dear? And what are you sipping on?
Well, in your song you're saying, when I'll be yours. Honey, I've been yours for the last 31 and a half this years.
Well, I like to keep reaffirming that every year.
For me, I am drinking what I'm calling a non-alcoholic wine, otherwise known as Ocean Spray Clad Grape.
It's a little cheaper than my port, but...
And you saw Troy's shirt last week. Here's mine. Yeah. Clan Pacelli, lifetime member.
So David says the only question is if Troy will be tanked worse than the Baldwin sisters from the Waltons. There you go. I'm not sure how wasted I can get on a port, but we'll see. We'll see. I'll give it a good college try. And David likes that shirt.
Well, that was a full bottle when he opened it, so we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. So. And of course, if I didn't mention it earlier, I think I did in my opening monologue. Let me know what you're sipping on in the chat, and let me get my...
Well, yeah, there's a reason I'm on camera today. Yesterday on Thursday Things, my lovely guest was Sin's Corner, and she had remarked that she couldn't see me or Troy on camera. I said,
So we
well,
told
I'll be
her?
on camera tomorrow night.
Yeah,
so
stop by tonight.
So stop by, and she could see both of us.
Exactly.
So I'm on camera tonight just for Sin.
And we're probably better off that Agent Boomer's not on camera. Hey, Agent Boomer, how you doing? What you sipping on? I know it is.
Whatever. I have an alcoholic beverage tonight.
Yeah, high octane, my friend. In the spirit of the Canarble Wagon, what are you drinking?
It is a Modelo beer. It's an imported beer. I guess it's is it Mexican? I believe brewed in Mexico. I figured.
Yeah, everything's coming over from Mexico. Why not?
Except Mexicans. Anyway.
Yeah, I know. It's right.
At any rate, but no, I figured tonight would be I figured we're talking about maybe stuff being made outside of the U.S. I'd pick a drink that was outside the U.S. So
that's a brilliant idea. That makes perfect sense. There was, if you were paying attention to the lyrics of that song, there was a lot about the sunrise and you ain't seen nothing yet, and the best is yet to come, and we're gonna get into that.
Yet to come.
Yeah, I know.
I told him he needed to concentrate more on mellow songs rather than harder songs because that's more his range.
I see.
For lack of better phrasing.
Hey Troy, I know it's your show, but I was wondering if I could use this opportunity to ask you and the chat opinion on my new profile pic. Well, sure, but I actually don't see the difference in your profile pic. It's still you in the Iron Man heads up, unless the text has changed. It's just so small, I can't really see it. What I can do, maybe, is I can go to his channel. Go to the channel.
And pull it up that way.
Yeah, open a new
It's not like you could click on the
tab.
picture and it opens up.
Geek flag with Nate Knows. Yeah, okay. I'm not seeing what's different. So, yes, absolutely. I don't mind. Look, you say it's my show, but I always say it's y'all's show. You guys absolutely, on the community tab or on my streams or in the chat, let me know what works for you and what doesn't. And, I'll keep those things in mind going forward. Absolutely, for sure. And PJ of Orville Nation, thank you so much for being here, my friend. You are an awesome encourager and supporter. Super appreciate you. No, you haven't picked it yet. I have it. New one to choose from.
Oh.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Be happy to help you out with that. Just let us see it, and we'll bring it up, and we'll, if you want, maybe during the chat isn't the way to go. Maybe the way to do it is put them on Instagram, because I know you're on Instagram. I get daily messages from you. and I will take them and I will post them in my community tab and make it into a poll so that everybody, you know, that's subscribing can tell us what they think, you know. Yeah, that might be the way to go. So let's do that. So Agent Boomer.
Yeah.
Did you get around to seeing Godzilla -1?
No.
See, I ask you questions I already know the answer to. That's fair because Netter and I haven't either. But we've heard a lot of good things about it.
Very good things. It's one of these movies I should have actually tried to see, but I had limited time, so unfortunately I didn't get to see it.
Did I hear correctly that it got an Academy nod?
No, I don't believe so. No.
I thought it did. I thought I heard
Perhaps
something.
it did for something else, not for the main picture. I kept thinking maybe foreign language film it could have gotten on for, but I guess I guess each country can only submit one, and Japan submitted the one that got a lot of attention over Cannes, which, fair enough, maybe it's a really good movie as well, but so they probably
deleted scenes. Let me know if I'm completely off my rocker. I thought, thank you, Big Al. Oh yeah, he already did. They both did. Apparently, it's up for visual effects. So, I mean that's a big deal. I think between the really decent box office showing that it made, all the great reviews that it's gotten, and an Academy nomination. Come on, you know that's a big deal. And although I did not see it, I was busy with work this week. I understand that Midnight's Edge was talking about, or maybe, you know what, it might have actually been WDW Pro who had a video up about it, talking about how the Hollywood U.S. entertainment industry is getting a little bit nervous about Japan and their cinema and their entertainment. Been a lot of talk in the past couple weeks about how anime seems to be kind of turning out to be a great option to American animation and so forth. Let's face it, it's like anything else. There's some that's better than others. I've had way too many weebs trying to convince me to check out something called Evangelion, and now I realize I really don't have to, since
yes, you do.
since Michael French did, since Retro Blasting did a deep dive on it. I think I know everything I need to know about Evangelion. I do not need to see it now. Absolutely. If you haven't seen it, Boomer, you should really check it out. But I do know there is a lot.
I just haven't gotten around to watching it yet.
Maybe watch Michael French's video first.
Oh, I see that. Yes. Well, we'll see.
Because and then maybe think through whom you watch it with. Apparently, there's some stuff about it that might be very uncomfortable to let anybody know that you've seen it. To be honest with you,
don't watch with Mom then.
There is. You know what? There's a scene that you get enough of it from Michael's video that you don't need to see it to know what's going on. He pretty much explains it. And let's just say there's some underage stuff going on that shouldn't be happening, and it's pretty overt.
Yikes.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. It's like show the camera type stuff. Yeah, it's no bueno. So yeah, you might not want anyone
I'm sure
to know
all the women on the show are in high school age. That's what they always say in disclaimers.
They're specifically said to be 14. That's important to the story.
Well, keep in mind though, I as much as I do whatever I'll say, these shows, at least back in the day, were never made for an international audience. That was an afterthought if it even came out over here. Nowadays they are, so you see less of that stuff now. But yeah.
It's crap. Yeah, Evangelion. Yeah. That's pretty much it. But I know he's doing some more videos coming up real soon about something about Senpai something really long title that didn't make any sense to me. It sounded like word salad, but he says it's really good, so I'm looking forward to that. And it's something maybe I'll end up checking out. But
now, if you want to watch a good retro blasting video? The one he did recently with Broken Vader.
Oh, he just put up, and really all it is a clip video strung together.
Yeah.
All these videos of Broken Vader, going back to 2014. And let me tell you, there was a couple in there that I didn't even remember, and I was like, wow, this is good. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned this to you, Boomer. I'm trying to get Michael back. He's got a video coming out real soon that is specifically a James Bond Lego related video. And I said, hey, the week you put that out, let's do that James Bond retrospective that you'd been wanting to do. So we'll get that going. I think everyone can guess what my drink will be that week. But trying to decide which song is in my range. I do make it the wrong way. But see, here's the problem. If I go out and get Quina Lillet, it's not the same thing that James Bond. Because what was called Quina Lillet back then doesn't even exist anymore. But
what I had heard, the whole shaken not stirred thing is actually a signal to the audience that underneath the gentleman veneer is really a brute. Do you understand? Because you don't shake a martini, correct?
But
yes.
That's in the movie, not in the book.
Oh, I don't remember what's in the book. I have to read.
In the book, he knows his stuff, you know, and he wouldn't do that. I love the James Bond films, most of them. I love most of the James Bond films, but I am under no illusions that they are, synonymous with the movies. The movies are a whole different animal,
Right.
But anyway, so we'll have to talk more about anime when I'm a little bit more versed in it. I know you know anime pretty well.
A little bit, yeah.
But that is one area, as far as like, if you're into comics, there's manga, and if you're into animated features, there's anime, so that is one area.
Boomer, take your picture or take your avatar out and put it back in, because I'm just seeing a white circle on YouTube.
Sure, I lost some internet there, so I'll select a different avatar. Hold on. There we go. How's that?
She's right. Yeah, you're okay in StreamYard, but in
okay, it should be fixed now.
There you go. There you go. Okay.
She thinks my tractor's sexy.
Well, if you're riding it, it's sexy, absolutely. So there you go. And look, I'm still thinking I should pick up, some sort of an omnibus or some sort of print of Alexa. Shut up! I wasn't talking to you. Alita Battle Angel.
Oh, I did get the hardcover manga volumes when they were on a decent price. It's a nice set. It comes with lithographs.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that, because I love the movie, and everything that I've heard is like, yeah, the movie was actually, pretty decent adaptation. So I'm like, wow, you don't hear that much, so I'll have to check that out. But so that was, just the prelude. I wanted to get the whole manga anime thing out there. That's the thing that exists and definitely worth checking out. Of course, Japanese cinema. We had Godzilla -1, and wasn't there another Japanese film that came out this past year that a lot of people were saying was really, really good?
I don't know.
Deleted scenes or
was it to do with Gamera?
No. It was. I think it was a drama. It was a historic piece. I'm drawing a blank.
Oh.
I obviously didn't see it, but I'm just pointing out that these options
they were big
are
on their samurai pictures many years ago. But.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, see, that's a good point. I know that a lot of that Star Wars is directly drawing from those old samurai films and Kurosawa. So yeah, I'd probably really like Gundam. I gotta look into that. Oh, right. Well, that wasn't the one I was thinking of, but yeah, The Boy and the Heron.
Oh yeah, that was the anime. The last,
Right.
the quote-unquote last movie of Hayao Miyazaki, provided he survives till he makes his next one, because the man will not quit. He's in his 90s and he's still making movies. So
There you go. I don't know if this is the one I was thinking of or not, Jesse, but thank you. Perfect day. And so I really do feel like Hollywood's, all of the entertainment industries are starting to shake a little bit about Japan. But let's go back to just before the strikes, the SAG-AFTRA strikes. We were talking about there's no TV, there's no movies. What are they going to do? Well, movies weren't such a huge deal. We knew that anything that was already in the can was going to be coming out, but anything they were in the middle of filming, the gap would come probably in 2024, after the strike is already over. We also know that some films, because the strike ended just before the holidays, they were like, you already had your holiday on the strike. Now we need to get back to work.
We got to
try
get
and
movies
get this
out.
stuff finished. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely true. But we talked about, and I know we talked about this on Geeky Geezers, what are the alternatives for television that wasn't being filmed and wasn't happening? It's streaming products that weren't happening. And we were starting to hear a lot of talk about South Korean streams that were being picked up by Netflix and Hulu and Amazon and so forth. And we said, there you go. That's where it's all going to go. And if it's good stuff, it's not going to go away. They will continue to maintain those relationships. And that's more competition that Hollywood does not freaking need. You know? Yes, I have heard a lot about My Hero Academia. Although Academia does tend to give me the shivers, but, I get the intent there. So I actually have started looking into some of these streaming services. Not the streaming services, but the streaming offerings on the streaming services. I think I've mentioned a number of times that that we do have Amazon Prime, and we almost never watch anything on it. It's one of those things where we use it for the purpose of buying and shipping and stuff like that. But as far as actually using the Amazon Prime, we've kind of ignored it. Well, until Outer Range was pointed out to us by Deleted Scenes, and we do know that in 2024 that should be returning now that the strike is over, and that is one domestic offering that, well, at least the first season was good. No guarantees on the second season. In fact, I have some real concerns and reservations about the second season. New Shogun miniseries coming to FX and Hulu. There you go. I'll be interested to check that out. But I think what I want to do is, before we get into South Korea, because there's actually a lot going on in South Korea. We've already talked about Japan. I am going to give one little concession to the Pooh Bear of the People's Republic. What is the name of that show? It was
Squid Game?
Was that China?
No. Oh, I don't know what China did. No, sorry.
China did a show that Netter and I watched called Reset.
Oh, yeah, that one was good.
You remember that one? It's about... and I think you're going to see a number of recurring themes in the shows I'm going to be talking about. Mostly because... and I was talking about this last night with Sin. The streaming service suggests things to you based on what you've looked up. So you kind of expect to see a lot of things in the same genre, the same stream and whatnot. But this one out of China, Reset. Girl is takes place in China. I don't know exactly where. She's on a bus, and she's I don't know where she's going, and it's not really relevant because she never gets there. The bus explodes and she dies. And she wakes up back in her bed the previous morning, and she starts the day over again. And she keeps getting, and she has no idea how or why, but she keeps getting reset, and she's trying to find some way to make the events stop and change. And she does find out she can change things, and she's able to pull someone in with her by making him aware of the situation, and they both reset together. And
think Chinese Groundhog Day.
yeah, but very violent, very dramatic. Yeah. They have a bunch of mysteries to solve. They got to figure out the story behind all these people
why
on the
is the bus blowing up?
Why is it blowing up? And, if they get off the bus and the bus blows up, what happens, and all kinds of stuff. And it's a one season series, and it was really, really good. That is the one concession to China. I don't even remember where that was streaming and how I ended up seeing it, but Netter and I watched it. We loved it, which caused me to start looking for similar types of shows, and I'll get to, what we're watching now from South Korea. But Boomer, you've got some Korean dramas to talk about.
I do. I even have a little slideshow I can show. Oh, do you have it up?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Yeah, Korean dramas. I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, to be fair, this is all relatively new to me. And if I was a younger man with more time on my hands, I'd probably be spending more time watching this in some of the same ways I was watching anime and other foreign films when I was younger and getting involved in that. Mm-hmm. But who knows? Maybe I'll find time as these things keep coming out. A lot of good things, though. This was the first one I watched, though. This was an Apple TV exclusive called Dr. Brain.
And this was the one you were telling me about.
Yeah, I told you about it. I remember the one time you couldn't be on the Geek Geezer, so I did the Geek Gulag. This was one of the stories I talked about, too, which was Dr. Brain. And I know that they do Korean dramas, and from what I can tell, from what I've heard from people say, what I've read, these typically are one-season TV series. They do not go on for multiple seasons, though they might make an exception with this one since it was a big hit on Apple TV+. They might do a second season. But typically they are supposed to be self-contained, but they do carry the story over multiple episodes. I almost want to say maybe it's sort of like the American miniseries format, but not exactly. It's more like a long movie that you have to watch in parts. Funny enough, maybe the last season of Twin Peaks might be more akin to what we'd see in the Korean drama, actually. Now that I think about it, because that was only one season also. But anyway, this is Dr. Brain. This is about he's a very highly intelligent neurosurgeon. Mm-hmm. But, and he's doing experiments, and he figures out that he can hook his brain, his live brain, up to the brain of a corpse and retrieve their memories. Yeah,
you were telling me about this. Yeah,
and
it's a little creepy, but
it's a bit creepy. This is and
it's an interesting trope because this isn't completely new. There was in the steampunk genre, there was a lot of stories set in Victorian England, and this whole idea that you could and it's not true. I'm sorry, I can show you the evidence and the science, but this idea that the retina holds the last image of what the eye sees before it dies. So this whole idea of an alienist being able to do an autopsy and take the eye and show it through a camera. I think they did this in what's it called? The Headless Horseman, Sleepy Hollow with Johnny Depp. This idea of shining the light through the retina to see what the last image was that the deceased saw. It's not true, but this sounds like a more futuristic kind of concept.
Maybe like a contemporary version of that. I mean, it takes place in modern times, modern Korea. and I think when he does it the first time, he gets clues as to who the murderer could be, and he's thinking he could use this to solve the crime and find out what's going on with these murders and whatever. And then, of course, you find out later on he has a tragic backstory, like he got married and fell in love, but since he's very highly intelligent, he maybe those sorts of emotions didn't manifest the way they should have, where he could be like maybe a better husband to her. Do you know what I mean? And he also had a son, and apparently they both died in a fire. Then as the show goes on, maybe we learned that maybe something was faked and his son may still be out there. I'm already probably doing too many spoilers on this show, but it's basically a very good thriller, and he gets clues by hooking his mind up to other memories. But the trouble is, once he gets those memories, they're sort of stuck in him. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So he's almost becoming a different person as he keeps absorbing other people's memories, like other. And at one point, he decides there's a cat, and a cat gets run over by one of the murderers or conspiracy guys, and he decides to hook his brain up to that of a cat.
Like I said, I think we're going to see a lot of recurring themes here. I think Natter's already looking at me going, yep.
No, I want to know what the memories of the cat were.
He didn't like it after he said the animal does not think the same way a person does, and he's like trying to organize it and everything, because of course, animals.
You understand we are going to end up seeing this eventually, Natter. This is.
I'll keep quiet about everything else, but of course,
it doesn't matter. We'll forget about it.
And he starts knowing a lot about these murders, so of course the local police detective starts wondering, are you in on this? Were you involved with these murders or kidnappings or whatever? You know what I mean? So she's getting involved, and it's a neat little thrill ride. I was satisfied enough by the ending. We may get a season 2. I believe the lead actor in this was in the movie Parasite, which I think won one of the Academy Awards in recent years. That was a Korean movie. So,
interesting.
Very good. But like I said, a lot of this is all relatively new to me. But good show. Did enjoy it a lot, and I do plan on watching a season 2 if they make one. One show that's
No, I did not know that, Evelyn, but it was the belief at the time, so I don't doubt it. The time of the Jack the Ripper investigations was really the dawn of forensic investigations, and they were starting to. The concept of fingerprinting was starting to be used, and it's a very interesting study in police procedure. They didn't do everything exactly right, as you would expect in the early days of investigations and whatnot. You know what? Someday maybe we'll do a talk about Jack the Ripper. That might actually be fun. Maybe talk about some of the fictionalized entertainment out there about it. But yeah. So,
deleted scene saying the actor in Parasite died. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was the director of Parasite. Maybe I'm confused on that. Okay, but I'll have to look up see what the main thing is. Actually, who was Dr. Brain? Let's see. And that was... Give me a second. Talk over me. Sorry.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Oh, no. Wait a minute.
He did die?
Oh, no. Yes, he's passed on. Oh, no. Well, I guess we may not be getting a season 2. Okay.
Well, he may have gone back in time 10 years. So, let's wait and see.
That's a shame. I didn't realize he died. He's a good actor. That's a shame. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it was left where they could have done or not done a sequel. So
yeah,
leave it alone. Do a new series. Oh, that's too bad. Oh, that bums me out now. Okay, January 27th, they said it would have a second season. I don't think it's getting a second season now. Okay, never mind. Okay, it's still worth watching.
Yeah.
Okay.
And honestly, this... and this was something I was telling Natter about the show we're watching. The one we're watching, we haven't seen to the end because they haven't released it all yet.
Right.
So there's like 2 episodes left, and I said I don't think there's going to be a second season because I don't think they always do that with Korean
Not
shows.
Typical, no. Yeah.
But we're at a like the third to the last episode. And there's a storyline going where she's like, I think this is going to happen that's going to lead to a second season. I'm like, nothing says they can't do a second season. So, we'll see how the story actually goes.
Yeah, it's one of those things where somebody said something. I'm like,
I'll bet that person gets, is going to... And I don't think it would actually be a season 2. I think it would be like the equivalent of a spin-off type of thing or whatever. But, we'll see. And I'll tell you guys all about that a little bit more later.
All right. Should I do the next series?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Kingdom. This is on Netflix. I have only seen season 1. Please, people, do not spoil it for me. And I'll try to do my best not spoiling this for any of you that haven't watched it. It's currently streaming on Netflix. There are other ways.
I am going to spoil season 2 for you. Blood will spill.
Thank you. Blood spilled in the first season too.
Oh, okay.
This is interesting. This is a period piece.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what
is
period...
that where the blood will spill? I'm sorry. I'm horrible.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So, Kingdom Korea. Oh, look at that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is set in the 16th century. Apparently 3 years after the end of the Imjin War. I should probably know what that is, but they don't necessarily teach Eastern history in a lot of history classes.
Yeah.
But,
and even if you take World Civ, they gloss through everything so quickly because there's so much history over the whole world. It's really hard to get all the main points,
Actually, though, they do mention when things are going wrong on the show, someone's speculating did Japan attack again. So this must be after Japan must have invaded Korea at some point.
Yeah.
This show is one part courtroom intrigue, heirs and who gets the throne. Other part, zombie series. And I know what you're thinking.
You mean like full-on zombies, dead coming back to life type stuff?
Yes, and I know what you're thinking. It's like, this can't work. Zombies, really? You throw zombies and everything. Throw them into Pride and Prejudice and you think it's going to work.
I don't know, man. Pride and Prejudice and Zombies was not bad.
Okay.
Even the movie was kind of okay. But
yeah, anyway,
I always imagine there's a date night, right? Where like this college couple, let's go see a movie. Okay, what do you want to see? I want to see Pride and Prejudice. Okay, let's go see Pride. You want to see Pride and Prejudice? Yes, I want to see Pride and Prejudice. You didn't tell me it was Pride and Prejudice and zombies. Well, it's still Pride and Prejudice.
Anyway.
And I am not making any assumptions about gender roles. It could go either way.
So anyway.
Or they could be same-sex couples. You don't know.
Yes. Okay. Well, there's that. Yes. So this show, a lot of characters in the show, but this is the Crown Prince of Korea at this time in this series. But the king is still running things, or is he? Because no one is allowed to see the king anymore, even though the main general insists that the king is still alive. And I think someone by accident.
For fuck's sake.
What? What's wrong?
My son's a teacher and is mad that at his school they no longer teach World War II at all. They skip it to get to the 60s and praise the hippies.
Is that a joke? Are you kidding me?
No, it's not a joke. Here's the problem with that.
What?
The whole concept of teaching about hippies makes zero sense without the foundation of World War II.
Yes. And to a lesser extent, World War I.
This is the problem with this whole generation, my friends. It's this. When people talk about, it's not just about gender ideology and all the other, BLM and all the other stuff they're pushing in the schools. It's stuff like this. This is real stuff that's really happening. This is not propaganda. This isn't right-wing blah, blah, blah. This is what is being taught or not being taught in our schools, and why we have a whole generation of people that are fucked up in the heads that don't understand what's going on in the world and think everything is unfair and everything is stacked against them. And you know what? Boo fucking who. Anyway, you were saying.
Anyway, I hope I'm pronouncing the gentleman's name right. Actor Ju Jin-hoon is cast as Li Chang, the Crown Prince of hope I'm getting this name right, Joseon, which is probably what was Korea was referred to at the time. But there's a problem, like I said. He's the king's only child, but he was born to a concubine and not the queen.
Right.
So
he's not considered to be legitimate.
Well, he could be, But the thing is that there's a...
He would have to be recognized by his father.
The king did remarry and make an action. And he did remarry, and he remarried the daughter of his prime general. Do you understand? The guy in charge of their military over there.
Right.
And
now, if he doesn't end up having a son with that wife,
yes, and the daughter and the daughter of the general, she's pregnant right now, but we don't know if she's going to give birth to a son.
Flip a coin, could go either way.
But there's another problem. Well, the king isn't exactly himself. Let's just say, as the series goes on, well, for starters, I think when someone goes to visit the king, he gets attacked, and the king decides to munch on him a bit.
Okay, so the king's a zombie. Just like the president. I get that.
Oh, that's bizarre. I didn't think of this because this is considered this was made before the pandemic, but it's almost like a pandemic type era show. That's what the people are calling it. And you also have a king that's not all there. I didn't even think about that. And the thing is that maybe the king was resurrected.
We're going to mobilize trigonometry pressure.
I like the fact that this show gives an explanation.
Maybe that's it. Maybe Biden's just a boozer. That would explain a lot.
Well,
the hairs of my legs would stand up on end, and I just saw a clip.
That's what we call oversharing, right?
I know, right? I just saw a clip of a comedy sketch that Robin Williams did. I laughed because he was talking about Joe Biden. He's like, and there's Joe Biden. And you just can't make this stuff up. He just says these word salads that make absolutely no sense. He says, when FDR was on TV, there were no televisions. It's like, just sit down, Joe. Just relax.
When FDR was on TV, there were no televisions. Well, there have been some televisions if he was on TV.
No, that sounds exactly like something. And by the way, can I get ice cream when this is over?
Oh, man.
Of course, we all call him Dementia Joe for a reason, dear.
Yeah. Or as Braden calls him, what is it? Bobo Biden. Bobo Biden. Yeah. Sorry, getting off on the politics again. Yeah, there's been a lot going on this week, and I'm pretty hot, so.
It's been a bad week. Anyway.
There's something about the corn pop. Yeah, thank you, Sir Torn.
No, there was it's
Sir
funny.
Torn Gagagani.
I don't know if you know of the YouTuber Sam Hyde, but he did a reaction video to, I think Biden was talking about a recent, mass shooting or something, but before he gets into the serious conference, he's talking to the kids about how he can have any kind of ice cream he wants, and he's all jovial. But then he gets all serious when he thinks the cameras are rolling, and I think the YouTuber was like, "Are we living South Park now?"
Yeah. Well, when honestly, these old farts need to figure out how the internet works. You can't, and there's already no assumption of privacy. So when you think there's no microphone, there's probably a microphone. There's probably a camera frickin' somewhere. It's not just, NBC's, camera guy. It's everybody in an auditorium or everybody in a room with their phones. You got to remember that. And, this stuff makes it out on the internet. Right now, the best they could do is that was AI that made that. That wasn't really me that said that. Look at all this Taylor Swift stuff that's happening. That's not real either.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Anyway, we'll see if she'll be president someday. Anyway, okay.
And you know how many votes she's going to get? 666. Anyway, let's at least.
Anyway, let's move on to this South Korean drama about zombies in 16th century Korea. Anyway,
right.
But anyway, the king is the king. There's something wrong with the king. Perhaps he was resurrected using a special plant that only grows in a certain part of the country. Which the
I'm sorry. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I got to derail us again because this one was too good. Putin may have surrounded Kiev with tanks, but he will never win the hearts and minds of the Iranian people. And we will mobilize trigonometry pressure. Okay. I promise, this time for real. Tell us about Korean zombies.
Is that a real quote? Don't tell me if it was.
I think
Anyway,
it is.
All right. Anyway, so King may have been brought back to life using a forbidden technique that they found using this lost plant. Yes. Anyway. So
It involved tannin leaves, and it was something that they read in
I don't know
in
what
the
it was.
Necronomicon.
Maybe it might have been a flower, okay? But no, I think there's actually, despite it being so unusual, there may be this weird pseudo-scientific reason for how they were able to bring the king back. Anyway, trouble is that they have to get rid of the body, so they send the corpse of this guy back to his village, where people are currently, very sick with various diseases, and they're also starving because there's no food.
Right,
in the countryside, the regular people. So one of the people working in the hospital, whatever, figures, you know what, I'll make a stew, and you know what, he looked at the body.
This is what happens during times of famines and stuff like that.
He's like, no one needs to know where the meat came from. They're all eating the meat, right? Okay, they're all eating the meat, men, women, children, right? Well, it turns out
and all that, right?
It turns out it was a bad idea for them to eat the meat of this guy that was attacked by the king, because oddly enough, it's not. It wasn't this whatever it was not transmutable. If someone brought back from the dead with a plant, attacks someone, kills them, they just stay dead. But if somebody eats the flesh, eats the flesh of the dead carcass, and then some, I guess, what do we call it? The virus or whatever it was mutates. Do you understand?
Right.
And now it's a spreadable virus. The only defense people have against now this new crop of zombies that's coming about is the fact that they are afraid of the sun. They will hide underground during the sunlight, like they'll go underneath buildings. Like there's a really real creepy scene where they don't know where the bodies are, and they found out they're all under the floorboards of the houses, sort of like in a stasis.
Wow.
And I think, and this around the same time, the prince is also fleeing the kingdom because he was trying to order a rebellion against the general or whatnot, because he knows something's up. No one's seen the king for a while. He's not allowed to see his own father. Something's wrong. He figures maybe they're covering something up, and so then I think they're going to file a treason thing against him. So he goes on the run, and of course then he starts running into these villages that are now being affected by this zombie plague, and eventually word gets to the general running things, so then they close off, I guess, the wall, so that people can't get away from the zombies. They can't get to the main kingdom for protection, and they start, I guess, the royal guard starts shooting at the poor people. So it's up to the prince really to protect his own people, and he does. He acts like the way
Deleted Scenes has a good question. Are they fast or slow zombies?
I think they're fast. Okay. I could be wrong, though. It's been a while since I've watched this. I think they're still dead, but no, I don't think they're the slow.
They're not lumbering like.
I don't think they're lumbering. No, because there's one scene where they're on a chariot trying to get away from them.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so these aren't Romero style zombies. Like I said, they do have a weakness, though. They do not like the sun. The sun, so you have some protections. Of course, you learn later on by the finale it's more complicated than that, but I don't want to spoil it. I've only seen season 1. There's all the courtroom intrigue, is the crown prince going to be the rightful ruler of Korea? And you realize he is, just for the fact that he actually cares more for the people than the people currently in charge. So he should be the one on the throne.
You'd be surprised how far that goes,
Yeah, I
think we'll find that out in November.
Yes. Hopefully, because it's getting ugly in this country, and I've heard things are getting there's rumblings over in the UK too of some ugliness too that could be coming in the future. But
I just saw some politician in Australia said Australia stands with Texas. Because they made an analogy to what the Crown is doing in Australia, and they're like, yeah, we need to protect our borders. Screw you federal people.
I've always wanted to visit Australia. It always struck me as a lovely country, but yeah.
Yeah, I would love to visit there, but it sounds like a place you could die. So I don't really.
Well, that, and I didn't like how they were really bad during the lockdowns.
But I think just like everywhere else, I think the general population learned a very serious lesson. Yeah, and we're like, that won't happen again. Do you understand, politicians and leaders? It will not happen again. We will not eat the cake. We will not take the jab. We will not submit.
Anyway, they're all very bloody there, don't you see?
See, I don't see zombie movie when I see this. This could just be, a samurai film.
It's both, kind of. It's both. Or whatever the Korean equivalent of a samurai would be. Because he actually has a trusty... he has some guy, like his one personal guard that had to look after him birth because he was a rowboat, so he follows him too. And it's it's a good little group you have here. This is a good, solid series. I'm telling you, it's like a medieval courtroom drama mixed with zombie pandemic, and it works. And I can't explain why it works. I'm like, if you were to pitch that to me, I'd be like, that's the dumbest idea ever. And yet I'm watching it, and it completely works, and it's a good show. So,
yeah, at the same time, that's also why they do treatments, because they're like, I have this idea. It sounds stupid, but you got to see the treatment because it really works.
Oddly enough, in some ways, I'd have to watch further seasons, but it's almost reminding me mood-wise of Game of Thrones, how you have all the political...
I was going to ask that.
On Game of Thrones, but then
leads me to the question, does it really reflect real Korean history, or is it like Game of Thrones where it's like, it kind of nods to real history, but it's, totally fictional?
Don't know. It could be an alternative history, too. It could be one of those things. I don't know enough about Korean history to know how accurate it is. But
that's fair. But this is the kind of thing that would get me starting to learn Korean history. That's kind of how I am. When I dive into this stuff, I really dive in,
Yeah. But, no, decent show, worth checking out. This is the...
Who's carrying this? Is this your Apple channel?
This is Netflix. This is a Netflix exclusive series. There are other ways. I will say this. No, Netflix is not always good about that, are they? They used to be. They used to put their stuff on DVD more regularly. I don't know if it is, though. But there are
What was the name of this one? I'll add it to my list.
Kingdom. Just Kingdom.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've already got that on my list. That one and Dr. Brain. I got it. Okay.
Dr. Brain. This is a third one, and this one is actually on Amazon right now. I've only started, though, so please, no spoilers in the chat if you could help
The
me out
Killing
here.
Vote. Okay.
The Killing Vote. What's going on here? What do you think of that guy, huh? I'll go.
I mean, I get V for Vendetta out of that, but tell me what.
It's funny. So am I a little bit, but yeah, the whole worrying them.
Either that or Donnie Darko.
A little bit of that too, maybe. Here's the plot of this series. This guy is sort of like the guy on the right. He's sort of like a Dirty Harry-esque cop.
So I'm going to right now point out one of the recurring themes that I'm seeing in these Korean shows, and it makes perfect sense. Yeah. It's true in American television too. Really good-looking people heading up these shows, Yeah.
To be fair, American television series tend to have good-looking actors.
Right.
Like a lot of CW series would tend to have good-looking actors, though not necessarily.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah. CW, here's my realization. You want to watch the CW? Watch it muted. Then it's a good show. Imagine the story for yourself,
Yeah, but good-looking casts.
Real quick, I want to say salute to Tim Hayes. Thanks for being here, my friend. Oh, clean shaven. You look like you're 12 years old, my friend. My gosh. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go on. Yes, tell us about this one.
Okay, so The Killing Vote is a series about. Well, first we feature on this main cop. Let me see if I can type it and find his name. Sorry, this was sort of slapdash. But okay, the essential premise of this is in Korea. South Korea, the justice system.
I'm sorry. I missed Matanui. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, he's got to head to bed. Oh my gosh! I only notice when he's on his way out, buddy. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. I got so engrossed in the conversation and the rants. I totally haven't been paying attention. So sorry about that.
Okay, so the name of this character is Kim Moon Chan, the head of Team 1 of the South Provincial Police Agency's Regional Investigation Unit. And let me see, and the woman.
So is this like NCIS Korea or something?
This is what it is. This is I almost want to say, what do they refer to this type of series as? A cat and mouse game, perhaps? Here's what's
I thought you were going to say police procedural, but okay.
Well, there's that. Well, here's what's going on. It starts out this detective to the right. He doesn't like criminals. He'll bend rules, maybe even sometimes break rules to get criminals behind bars. He's tired of it. He reminds me a little bit of a Dirty Harry type, right?
Yeah.
Like there's one scene where he's interrogating a guy and says, "Here, you're going to cop to this," and it says, "You cop to this, you'll get less time." He says, "I'm not going to."
Starting to sound a little bit like Chicago PD here.
Well, then he bangs his head against the table. What? You're assaulting a police officer? And he bangs his own head on the table. You know what I mean? And he's doing stuff I find kind of questionable, right? But of course, he's going after really horrible people, like guys involved in.
He said he'd put police procedures in Chicago, I think.
Right. Maybe. Anyway, the main guy, I think he was busting up an underage film. You know,
I'm with you. I got
you know
it.
What I'm talking about? Ring.
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah. A Sound of Freedom type situation.
Kind of a Sound of Freedom type situation. Yes. Meanwhile, a guy that was put away for the sort of things in Sound of Freedom gets out of jail, and he gets out of jail early. I think he got remarried, and the wife was crying in the courtroom, and like, he really wasn't as involved as you think, and like they let him out of jail, and of course he really is as awful as everybody says, and the cop on the right, he knows he's terrible and is watching him, trying to figure out what to do about him, but then all of a sudden, this guy appears on the TV. I guess he's wearing this goofy.
It is a little V for Vendetta.
It's like a Hello Kitty type mask or something.
Sir Torrance says, Agent Boomer, a cop who doesn't like criminals? I would certainly hope so. Well, I mean...
You would hope so, not so much.
Yeah, in Korea, or a non-Democrat. Let's just put it that way,
I don't know how they are about the police in Korea. I know in Japan, a police profession is highly respected. I don't know how it is in Korea. Of course, even on this show, there are people who are screaming about the police saying, "You're not doing your job putting these evil people behind bars." Everybody knows these people are guilty. So this guy shows up, I guess, through an app. An app gets downloaded on everyone's phone, and he shows up, and let's do a killing vote. This person, he got let out of jail. He's guilty. Should I kill him for you, or does he live or die? Vote. If you don't want to vote, you can just hit the X and not vote. So of course the whole populace gets to vote. They vote, kill him. So
that's very what's that show? Black Mirror.
Is that like Black Mirror?
Deciding. Well, it's an anthology show, and there was one that was like on social media. You could determine the fate of criminals and stuff.
Okay,
it's mob rule. The kind of court of public opinion type stuff. It's scary as all hell. It's like the Salem witch trials. They must be a witch because the priest said it was a witch. So string up the witch.
Yeah, and of course I watched the second episode, and then he's going after this woman who's basically a Black Widow type, where her husbands keep mysteriously dying, and she ends up inheriting all the money, the insurance money. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I guess she was married to a fourth husband, and you see scenes where you can tell she was abusing her stepchildren and all sorts of things, and she's already poisoning his soup. You can see she's poisoning his soup. So of course they're trying to round who the next criminal is going to be targeted. They figure out a turbo right as they do. Then of course he comes on the internet again and says, "I'm gonna, let's do a vote." He goes all through her history about what she's done, and I guess she gets rigged to a car that's about to explode, and that's the way she's gonna go. And the cop tries to get involved and tries to stop it from happening. I don't want to get too much more involved because again, I haven't gotten that far into the series. But there's a lot of
and of course you don't want to give away any spoilers. Nate says he was breaking up an Epstein production, and remember,
that's what it reminded me of. Actually, that's what I thought of. Actually, like
Eternal Truth number 2.
Yeah.
Eternal Truth number 2. Epstein did not kill himself.
What I'm thinking of too is look at Korea dealing with topics like this in a fictional series where it wouldn't be broached over here with this sort of conspiracy.
I thought that as I said it, Sir Tord. She's a witch. She turned me into a newt. A newt? I got better.
Well, this is as far as I've gotten. There's a lot of intrigue. Like I think in the episode I'm watching now, there was a apparently I don't know if she's running to be I don't know what Korea has, president. She's a politician, and she's almost thinking to use this, I'll try to be, she's going to side with the guy in charge of the killing vote because its popular opinion is swaying toward him, the way he's doing things, and it's swaying away from the police. And it's one of these things, who's right and who's wrong here. I mean, obviously these are horrible criminals, and they deserve what they get, or do they? Or is it up to us to do this mob rule, or do we let the courts sort things out? But of course, the idea is the courts haven't been sorting this out. That's why it's turned to this.
Right.
So it's one of these things where it gets you thinking. But this guy's very sinister, though. And of course, there's all sorts of suspects.
And it's kind of, he's really sinister, but when you see the mask, it's like, oh, how adorable.
It's to throw you off. That's what it's there for. And of course, the voice is masked, too. It could be a woman for all we know. I mean,
that's true.
I think it sounds like a guy, though. But yeah.
CK says, yes, witches float. You know, what else floats? Wood. Therefore, witches are made of wood. That's how we know that Natalie Wood was not a witch. Too soon?
Yeah, too soon. But no, rather good show. I do like the thrillers. I know Korean K-dramas are more about there are a lot of romances too, because I guess they still have romantic love over in South Korea.
Yeah. That's another recurring theme that I'm seeing, and I'm kind of digging it.
But they do have feminism over there, so I guess they figured out.
I am starting to realize that. It's very interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I'm learning a little bit about Korean culture. Absolutely.
So anyway,
real quick before you go to the next one.
Oh, that's it. That's all I got.
Oh, that's all you got. Well, you know,
unless you want
boot
me to talk
that
about,
shit. Get that crap out of there.
If we run out of stuff, I could always talk about Giallo.
That's fine. That's fine. But I did notice. Genre, I did notice that that I was kind of starting to go all.
Uh-oh.
Sorry about that. Starting to do. I accidentally took myself out for a second because what I wanted to do was. See, I'm starting to get all red in the lips, so I figure it's about this time I must do this. It is by will alone I set my mind in motion. It is by the Jew Sapo that thoughts acquire speed, the lips acquire a stain, the stain becomes a warning. It is by will alone I set my mind in motion.
Your chinks are pink, too.
It is by will alone I set my mind in motion. It is by the Jew Sappho that thoughts acquire speed, the lips become stained, the stain becomes a warning. It is by will alone I set my mind in motion.
Is that like a Catholic thing?
It's a Mentat thing from David Lynch's Dune.
Oh, I was almost starting to think it was a Freemason thing.
Yeah, it could be that too. Good point, but no. I think well, deleted scenes most certainly got it, and I'm sure a lot of other people in the chat got it as well.
Well, I didn't. It's the
way we'll have to do a rewatch of the David Lynch Dune.
I've seen it, but it's like I don't remember every single line. So don't be rolling your eyes at me, dude. The thing is, you quote things from the Catholic Church all the time.
That's
I'm like,
true.
What the heck are you talking about? I was raised Protestant.
That is true.
That's what I said. Is that
if your mother could raise you Anglican, I bet she would have done.
No, my mother was raised Protestant.
Oh, was she?
My father was
technically, England is
Protestant.
A Protestant, yeah.
It's this Church of England. It's just based on Henry VIII breaking from the church rather than Martin Luther, I think. So. But.
Yeah, my father was Catholic, and he, what do you call it when you become the other thing? He became a Protestant.
Converted, yeah.
Yeah, he converted to being a Protestant. So it's like, I don't know Catholic stuff.
Anyway, actually, no, I don't want to say it.
I know there's a lot of Latin.
I knew a priest that once said most of the priests don't know their religion or something. Which was very bad.
Now,
he said, but anyway.
Deleted scenes might be able to correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I seem to remember that Dorff actually wrote. It was either Dorff or Lynch himself who wrote the Mentat verse that I just recited. That is original to the David Lynch version. But fans of Dune have really taken to it. It's not in the book, but they kind of love it. And it's kind of been, it's like one of the one things that's like, yeah, that needs to be preserved in the lore of Dune, you know. It's still not canon, but it's like very, very, very much appreciated. So, okay, so that brings me to, and you know what? We're doing great on time here. You got the first hour, I'll take the second hour. Sure. I kind of already talked about that China production. I am not anywhere near as sophisticated as you know. Do you want to like? You can put that away now if you want to.
How do I get rid of it? Do I just remove from studio?
You actually got it up here twice.
No, you don't got to put up Giallo just now. That's only if we have an emergency. Because Giallo, in some ways, it's an old genre. It's not really current, but it's gotten popular in the United States since then. But do you want me to talk about this?
What is it?
It's Italian thriller movies from the 1970s, but we don't have to talk about it if it's cross purposes. I should have talked to you about this for the
You know what? That's a great idea. Let us hold that until the end, though, because I want to stay on South Korea for the time being. Korea,
so get rid of it.
But I am interested, so I do want to check that out. So Netter and I have been watching a show called Marry My Husband. And heaven help me, I can't remember the characters' names. I am so completely lost.
Well, I know the lead hot guy is Mr. Yu.
Mr. Yu, yeah. Here's one of the things I'm learning about Korean culture. They are pretty strict in the business. Well, at least if I'm going by what this show shows me. I don't know anything else. But it would seem to imply that in the work community, the hierarchy is very important. You can socialize in friend groups, with your manager and, subordinates and stuff like that outside of work. But within the office, if you're on a first name basis, doesn't matter. You call them Mr. or Ms. whomever, during the workday. So even if you're dating, which apparently at this particular company you're not supposed to be dating.
Well, no, Mr. Yu put that into effect to try and break up the one couple.
Is that true? Or was that an HR directive before him?
No, it's like when he went up to the roof and was talking with the boyfriend, he's like, you can't date inside. It's best if you break up with her.
Ah, gotcha. But then he was talking to that guy that his father brought in, and he was giving him guff about dating someone that worked for the company. So, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I get the distinct impression that it's definitely frowned upon. So I really, really like this show. Again, it's called Marry My Husband. It's about a very sweet, very shy, very mousy girl who is bullied through most of her life.
Yikes.
And it starts out literally at the end of her life. In 2023, she's in advanced stomach cancer, and she's just started taking chemotherapy. She has just gone for her first treatment, and she is stopped, and she is told that she cannot receive treatment until she pays her outstanding bill. So she tries to call her husband. This is all within the first episode. So I don't consider this spoiler. This is the setup. First episode is the setup. She can't get a hold of her husband on the phone. So she hires a cab to take her home. And she has a very interesting conversation with the cabbie, who refuses to take her money. When they get there, he's like, no, consider it a gift from your father.
Well, he takes it, but then he says, wait, and then he hands it back to her through the window.
Yeah, he says, I just consider this a gift from your father, and he drives off. It's a very sweet gesture. She tries to, no, I can pay. No. She thinks he's doing it just out of pity because of her illness. She walks into her house and catches her husband with her best friend. And she overhears what they're saying, and they're basically saying, I wish she'd die already so that we can get the insurance money and start our life. It's just a terrible situation, and a little struggle starts, and she pulls away from her. I don't remember, was it the husband or the girlfriend? Either way, it doesn't matter. It's a struggle, and she falls backward, and her head smashes through a glass end table or coffee table, and she dies. And then she wakes up in her bed 10 years earlier, and she gets her whole 10 years to live over again.
Actually, she wakes up and she's now in her company, very confused, trying to figure out what the heck just happened.
So she's not married yet, but she is engaged.
No, she's got a boyfriend. They don't say anything about her being engaged yet, but she's in a long-term relationship with him for 7 years.
That's a good point. They don't refer to him as like fiance or anything.
Yeah,
like
she
that.
just keeps saying boyfriend.
She tries to break up with him, but
he gets violent.
Which kind of, she has flash forwards to her death.
It's him raising his hands to her.
And the whole season is what you would expect. Someone trying to change their fate, trying to use their knowledge of the future. She does buy some stocks. I think that's always common. You see that happen with people, from the future going into the past and whatnot. It can be a little difficult to follow, although the show kind of spoon feeds you with the way they do flashbacks and stuff like that, because you come into the story a priori. You know nothing about this character, and when you need to know something about her past, you see a flashback. And sometimes it's not a flashback so much as a flash sideways. An event is about to happen, and she remembers how it originally happened in the original timeline, giving her the opportunity to do something different. It's very, very interesting. But here are some of the tropes that I'm seeing that I'm starting to think are kind of common. First, again, this could just be because what's being recommended to me based on my, inquiries. But I'm getting the idea that time travel is a very common occurrence in South Korean dramas. I just, which I find very interesting. But, and I haven't mentioned this particular aspect to Netter in our conversations about the show, but I'm starting to feel like, and this is a good thing, this is a very positive thing about this show, the characters are a little bit caricature, okay? So the likable characters are very likable, and the baddies, right? The
jerks,
the husband and the best friend, a certain boss, is a real jerk. They are over the top. Like her immediate supervisor is just very slovenly. He takes.
That happens with the criminals on the Killing Vote. They're also over the top.
It's almost comical. In fact, it is comical. The boss takes her to lunch or something, or dinner or something, and he's like dipping his fingers in the food and licking his fingers, and then he licks his chopsticks to pick up a piece of food to give to her, and now she doesn't want to eat it. Stuff like that.
This could be actual behavior of bad people in South Korea, though. You never know.
Well, I don't know about Korea, but I know from Go Ask Shogo. I think that's the YouTube channel. It's a bloke in Kyoto who talks about Japanese culture for people that might want to visit and things like that. Things you might have heard that aren't exactly true, or why they are the way they are. Cultural taboos. He says don't worry too much about this. A lot of Japanese people make this mistake, but just be mindful. Stuff like that, especially like food etiquette and stuff like that. And there are certain things that are different in Korea than in China. For example, Netter, I don't know if you noticed this or not. Did you notice the chopsticks that they use in the show?
I think they're like the ones that you like. They're metal.
Yes, they're metal ones. Those are Korean chopsticks, whereas in Japan they would be bamboo or wood. I don't know why. That's just the way it is. I happen to like the stainless steel ones myself. So, I do appreciate Japanese culture, but I just like Korean chopsticks. So, anyway.
It's okay. You can like them better.
Yeah, because I'm American and who gives a crap, right? There's a lot of stuff that I specifically do with chopsticks, like take them and stick them in the rice. You're never supposed to do that in Japan, but I'm like, screw it. Nobody here in the United States gives a crap, so, whatever.
You lay your chopsticks.
Still use forks.
Yeah, you lay your chopsticks on top of the bowl.
When you're done.
Plate. Or on the side of the plate.
Exactly. You usually have a chopstick rest if you don't want to put them directly on the. Yeah. Anyway, we're getting off topic here. So anyway, I highly recommend this show. Netta and I are on episode 6 or something like that, and I think there's only 9 episodes in the series. Don't know if there's going to be a second season. But then again, we haven't seen the last episode yet, so we don't really know how it ends. And that's because I think we're, with the exception of 1 or 2 episodes, we're almost caught up to the airing on this one is on Amazon Prime. So kind of want to check that out. Disney Sheepherder. Welcome. Thanks so much for being here. We're just going into and the Bosco Scenario, who has been here for a while, and I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to say hi to you earlier. I get distracted easy, especially when I've been drinking. But that is what we are currently watching. Now, there is I think this is a Korean version of the Chinese show that I talked about earlier called Reset.
It's possible, yeah.
It is entirely possible,
yes.
And because we enjoyed the Chinese one so much, I kind of want to see. I've seen pros and cons of both series, so I think I might want to revisit Reset with the South Korean, just because why not?
There was a Japanese series I got into. I had to watch it through unorthodox way since I don't think it was ever released over here, by normal means. It was a show called Liar Game. And apparently there was a Korean remake of this Japanese series also. They did their own version of the Liar Game. Where I think this young 20-something girl, I guess she filled out a contest or survey, ends up on this game show, not realizing, or maybe she borrowed some money. I don't know what it was. But basically, she ends up in this... I'm probably not even doing this. I'm butchering probably the plot, but... she ends up with all these other contestants in this hidden location, and basically, if you don't solve these puzzles or do the right thing or strategize properly, you end up getting killed in the game, and you have to make it to the end. But basically, I feel like people were selected as contestants through not so legal means either. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen it, but that was one that they were bringing out over here. Liar.
One thing I also noticed,
maybe it's like Squid Game. I don't know.
And I can say this in general. We're watching a foreign language show, right? I don't speak one single word of Korean. So you have to read the subtitles.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you kind of have to trust the translation, right?
Yeah.
And there was one point where the main character went for a makeover, right? The mousy girl goes for a makeover, gets all glammed up, right? Common trope. And one of the things that, the instruction is given is make sure you do this and you do this, and we want a haircut and the makeup, and give her an eyelash perm. And Netter's like, an eyelash perm? And I sat there thinking about it for a second. I said, I bet that's a translation error. They just mean curl her eyelashes. Perm being to curl.
Curly. Yeah.
They're combining, the concept. They don't literally mean, put chemicals on the eyelashes. They mean, the little grabby thing.
But I could see these little tiny rods on the eyelashes.
Yeah. I mean, I know that's what it brings to mind for the American audience, but I'm guessing the translation did not intend that, But and I'm sure that, you put curlers. That's not a perm, but maybe they translate it as perm, whatever. But...
Well, I have a question. Did in any of the translations you read, were they talking about the patriarchy or MAGA or anything like that?
No.
There you
but
go. It probably was all right. Okay.
But what they did do, and if you got to get that kind of because you did say there is this movement of feminism in South Korea, I got that. I really did, in a very positive way. Again, that boss that, licks the fingers and and he's just real disgusting. He says these horrible things about women. Women don't want to work. They just want to find a husband. Blah, 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 blah. And he says this real loud in the office. He is like the Archie Bunker of the workplace, right? and this is what I'm talking about, over the top. But this guy she really likes, who actually outranks her immediate boss, is kind, thoughtful. In fact, he's in a situation where he pulls her into a work meeting because he knows that she's really sharp about certain things. And he introduces her as his assistant or subordinate or whatever to this very important business, contact that he's making, who's a real bastard to the people that are with him. And he says
He's
something.
The chairman.
Yeah. And the girl says something to him, expresses an opinion or something. And he looks at her and he looks at the guy and goes, "Why is your woman talking to me?" And he looks at him and he says, "Because she's here as my assistant. And I asked her to be here because I know she is knowledgeable about these things. And you would do well to listen to her." And he goes, "Okay, I'll listen." And she, she does a good showing for herself. And it's like little in your face, a little over the top caricatures of the good guy and the bad guy. But it gets the point across. Decent guy, treating her like a decent person, and, the asshole. And if you think about real world, you kind of know people like that, right?
Yes.
Maybe not that overt, but sometimes pretty damn close.
Yeah, it's like all of the bad guys in this show are misogynists. I mean, horrible misogynists.
Now, when I said that they were over the top, I feel like it's an opportunity to inject some comedy. That's how over the top they are. They play it comically. And you can kind of tell because of the music that you hear playing. It's, kind of. This is where I would draw a comparison to Twin Peaks, okay? Where you've got these goofy, silly, comical moments that are over the top and almost out of place. And it's offset by, this goofy Norwegian type, soundtrack piece of music, as opposed to the very serious, dramatic, underscored by, very serious, mellow, type music. There's actually a lot of elements where, your average person wouldn't say, "Oh yeah, I see the Twin Peaks in this," but, the diehard Twin Peaks would be like, "I feel a little bit of connection here." It's not exactly, but I kind of think they may have taken some inspiration. Yeah, exactly. Let's see, what else? Now, what I'm now reading from is my list of shows I have not yet seen, but they're the ones I want to see. They're on my, to-do list, so to speak. There's one called One More Time. This is another South Korean one. It's about a musician who gets the opportunity to go back in time to either relive his glory days as a musician or, rekindle a romance that he missed out on. There's another show called A Time Called You, where a grieving woman travels back in time because she can't let go of the person she lost. And I'm seeing that again as a common theme. In these time travel shows, it's not like time travel shows where, whether it's 7 Days or Back to the Future or Time Cop or whatever, where they get into the science and explain how the time travel device works. You've got time travel by maybe supernatural means or completely unknown.
What?
There's no explanation because that's not the important point. It's like don't worry about that.
I worry about that stuff.
Well, but
I need Geordie LaForge giving an explanation about tachyons.
And give you a bunch of techno-babbling bullshit, right? You want that hard science fiction like Primer, right? Or
even Doctor Who in the 80s sort of tried to explain the science behind the stuff. They got rid of that, I think, when Davies took over. But I always felt, I know that it's kind of a stretch anyway. This is actually my main problem I think I have with, as great a book as it is, The Time Machine by H.G. Wells, because when I'm reading it, he doesn't really explain how the time machine works in that book.
Well, in fairness to H.G. Wells, at the time that he wrote it, there was no understanding of temporal physics.
Before the Worlds, he makes an attempt to explain how the Martians could have gotten here on their spacecraft and that sort of thing. I felt, whereas here I just felt it was beyond his explaining.
It was.
It's still a great book. I'm not trying to knock the book. It's a great book.
So I guess what I'm getting at is the time travel, at least in Marry My Husband. And I should explain. The reason it's called Marry My Husband is because she does not intend to marry him again. She's going to try to get him together with her best friend. She wants her to marry her husband to push her fate off onto them. As revenge for what they did to her. That's why it's called Marry My Husband. In fact, it was funny because at one point, you know how the opening credits go and they do, whatever, starring so-and-so, and then you get a logo. That's the show, right? And Netter looks at that and goes, I have no idea what that says. They don't give us a translation. I said, it says marry my husband. She looks at me like, and I'm like, well, I'm sure that's what it says. But it's more like Confederate Yankee in King Arthur's Court. I'm sure that if Sir Torrin is still here, he knows what I'm talking about. This whole or Rip Van Winkle, right? There's no explanation of how the time travel works. It just happens, and they deal with it. The
Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court.
Did I say Confederate?
Yes.
I've got the Civil War on my mind right now. You're right. Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court.
Because that'd be an oxymoron, right? A Confederate Yankee.
Well,
well, you never know. There might have been some that said, "I agree with my Southern brothers," and he ran down.
Well, that could very well be true.
Sometimes that happened with families that were split brothers, one
yeah,
on one side, one on the other. Yeah.
That. Well, and look, how is that any different from right now? Whether it's about, Trump and Biden, whether or not it's about get the shot and put on a mask or not, all this kind of stuff. And, I lost so many friends in the past friends in the past 3 years over this stuff, But I'll tell you, you can bitch and moan all you want about the science. Tell me one person that you know of who actually really did die of COVID. Because I'll tell you at least one person that I knew personally who died from the jab. My brother died suddenly. So fuck you and all of your so-called belief in whatever propaganda is out there. But anyway, sorry, another tangent. Right. We'll get back on it. So yeah, there seems to be a supernatural element to this time travel because a very emotional event happens a little bit later where, well, actually, I think it's later in the first episode when she looks at the money that she got back from the taxi driver. There's a little blue heart drawn on it. She sees this and it triggers a flashback to her father drawing these little blue hearts on all of the money that he had. And she says, you shouldn't draw on money. It's illegal to deface, currency. And he goes, I don't remember what his reasoning was or what the symbolism was behind it. But she realizes that actually was her father, who was dead. So how could it be her father? And she's starting to cry, and she's like, Father, you should have told me it was you, and all this. And it is, let me tell you something, this show has a way of making you laugh out loud, and it just, this close to crying, But the other important thing about this is, as I said before, you have to read subtitles, right? I cannot F around on Twitter or play a game.
You have to pay attention.
I have to pay attention. Like we always used to, And there's something to be said for that, too. Now, I still end up missing stuff. What?
I'm also going to say, but movies and TV used to be better. So,
Yeah.
But that's my point. This is I am not paying attention to a game I had on my computer because I'm watching the show,
Yes.
and I'm like, you know what? I'm okay with it. Screw this game. I want to pay it. I don't want to grind for dilithium in Star Trek Online. I want to follow this story now because there's reading involved. It's very easy to miss something or misunderstand something. So there are times where either one of us has to go like, wait, can you put that back a second? What did he say? I didn't follow that. And we'll play it through, and then maybe one has to explain to the other. But I don't see anything wrong with that.
it's interesting. Early Japanese anime that came over here subtitled, either on DVD or even on VHS, would come with liner notes. You know, like albums would have liner notes in them.
Yes,
You know,
exactly.
liner notes. Like I remembered.
Pink Floyd's The Wall, for example.
Yeah, like for instance, I'm a big fan of Lupin the Third, which is a anime character, and the detective that's always chasing after Lupin. In one of the movies, he keeps referring to him as Tatsun, and we don't even know, and I don't know what that means. And you find out, oh, it's in Japanese literature. I guess he's like a famous detective, Zenigata no Tatsun, which has the same name as this character in
Well,
the movie. So
in
it's like a
fairness-
reference to another detective. It's like a playful name, but I don't know that because I don't know anything about what this Tatsun is. Do you understand? 'Cause
No, exactly. However, we do have the benefit of we can pause and look something up on the internet or say, hey, Alexa, how much is 7,000 South Korean won in American dollars or whatever, And we've done that throughout she has arrived. Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. Salute, Sin.
Sin.
We got to hang out with Sin on Netter's Network last night, and
Yes.
we did promise that we would both be on camera tonight so that she could see Netter's lovely face. Nobody wants to see my ugly mug, but it's my show, so I still do. But Netter, and there you go. And that's not merch she's wearing. It was gift that she got me this year.
It's
for
Team Pacelli, lifetime member.
yeah, and she's
I got us each one.
because we're both Pacelli, and she
Teams
will
are
be for
nice.
life. Because I told her, if you marry me, till death do us part, I take that seriously. You want out of this marriage, one of us got to die.
That's why it says lifetime.
Lifetime members. Yeah, that's exactly it. Thanks again for inviting me. Nice to see you both. To see both of you. Sin, I'm sorry you missed what we throughout the stream. We've been talking about various Asian streams and movies and manga and anime and stuff that are good alternatives to the destroyed culturally vandalized entertainment of the West. The East is doing some pretty good work, and right now we're talking about some streams that I've seen, some streams that Boomer has seen, and now I'm kind of getting into some streams that I want to see and haven't. The last one that I wanted to mention is a South Korean series called A Time Called You.
Ooh.
Oh, did I mention this one before? Yeah, this is the one about the grieving woman who travels back in time because she can't let go of the person she's lost. Again, this was one of the other points that I wanted to mention. Marry My Husband has this element of, there are certain elements of fate. Think of it, if you're a Doctor Who fan, as the fixed points in time, right? Certain things cannot be changed. They will happen. Someone will die. It may or may not be you, but that fate has to happen. So either you die or somebody else dies. And sometimes it's very trivial stuff, like she gets a scar on her arm from getting burned by a coffee pot. And when it's coming around and it's going to happen again, someone else intercedes and he gets burned and he gets the scar, and it's in exactly the same spot, exactly the same shape. So this causes her to ponder, the rules of time travel, which you always have to establish somehow, right?
Even Harry Potter had rules for its time travel, even though it was supernatural based.
I'll tell you what,
Yeah,
though.
magic based.
I think I mentioned this in my series on time travel. the Harry Potter time turner, that whole bit was talk about closed loop time travel.
Yeah.
There is no changing the past because you are already a part of that past. Those events have already happened, and they do it in a very clever way where he doesn't even realize what's happening until after he's taken an action. He goes, "Oh, okay." And then when he's the future version going back, "Oh, this is why I did that, and this is why I still have to do that, and I can't not do that."
Yeah,
exactly.
it's like, I don't know if you answered Cin's question. She said, "What was the show that we were talking about last night? That's Marry My Husband."
Yes, and she Marry My Husband. That's right. I'm looking for those now and where to watch them. So, Marry My Husband is on Amazon Prime.
Are we paying for those?
Technically, it's with our Amazon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, no, you
part of
get
that
it. You get
package.
the service Amazon Prime with it. There are some decent series on Amazon Prime. The Jack Ryan series and the Jack Reacher series are both pretty good. I do recommend those if you. Yeah.
You had mentioned those previously. I was kind of gearing it towards these shows.
Well,
from
yeah,
the
no,
West,
I
but-
agree. In fact, that's why I think.
And in fact, that's why I'm thinking. Yeah, you're what is
the
it?
other thing.
Guajardo? No,
Let's do this another night. Why don't we?
Yeah, in fact, you said it's Italian. Maybe we revisit it on a night where we just talk about Italian shows and movies.
Sounds like an idea.
That could be a whole show in and of itself. I got to put my list together for that because there's a lot of good Italian movies that I love that I would love to talk about. Some of them are older, but like this "Marry My Husband" is a current one. Like we're almost completely up to date with it. That reminds me of the movie Time Machine, where everything the professor went back in time to see his. Yeah, that was the remake. That's not based on the book. That's not based on the original film with.
Original film
I'm trying to remember the actor's name.
from the '60s.
Yeah. Oh, one of the guys in the chat's gonna remember.
Give me a
Remember in Gremlins when what's his name is at the Inventors Convention and the time machine from that movie is in the background,
Yes.
and then they cut away to the phone and for him talking, and then you go back and saying the time machine's not there, and people are looking around like, where did it go?
Yes, I love little
all the
Easter
little-
eggs like
the
that.
little- the little-
And those that know, right? Exactly.
Yes.
It wasn't Jeremy Hunter. It was.
I could-
Damn, someone in the chat's going
I'll
to get
look
it
it
if
up. I'll
Netter
look
doesn't
it
get
up.
it first. But as long as you, Rod Taylor, thank you, CK. I knew someone was going to know. The only problem is you guys are on a 30-second delay, so we're sitting here. Oh, I can't remember for 30 seconds, and you're just like, boom, you got it. But it takes you 30 seconds because you only just heard us belly aching about it. Sci-Fi Mambi, howdy. Sci-Fi Momby's going to be on with you in a couple weeks, isn't
end
she?
of February.
There you go. Looking forward to chatting with you on Thursday Things on Netter's Network. Sci-Fi Momby, you are one of the queens of the social medias. Super appreciate you. So what was I saying? I think I got through my list of shows, and
Yeah, and the only other show I could think to mention, though, I don't know if this is strictly a Japanese series because it's an HBO series, or maybe it's a Max series, but it's Tokyo Vice, which is kind of what I like to call a hybrid series, where the
yes,
show is
you
in
did
both
mention that.
Japanese and
I thought
English.
you were going to talk about that one today. That's why, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know if that counts really as a strictly Japanese show, but I think it is made for. Like I said, I think one thing I'm starting to see, and I don't know if we're going to see more of these, like Atlantic Crossing is another one of these, which was I call a hybrid series where half of it's in Norwegian and the other half was in English because part of it takes place in the United States. Whereas
See, originally,
Tokyo Vice has
before,
American characters and Japanese characters in it, and they speak Japanese and English on the show at various parts. Yeah.
Salute, signore. Welcome the Clue Channel. Thank you so much. You are awesome. Since everyone's coming in now, I'm kind of wondering if a stream just ended or something that you guys are all coming over. And Clifton 3D. See, this is what I'm talking about. There must have been a stream. Tell me, what was it that I missed that I can go back and watch that you guys have all just come from? I super appreciate you coming by. Clifton 3D. Before I narrowed it down to just, Asian, and I'll be honest with you, I almost slipped, what is the Indian one? R.
Oh, the Bollywood movie?
Yeah.
I heard it's good. I just haven't seen it.
I've heard good things about it too. Pops from Pops on Pop Culture was, going on and on about it. I'm sorry, I went into Robin Williams there again. I came from Netflix. I was watching Arctic.
What is Arctic?
Sin, help me out. What is that? That sounds interesting. Yeah.
Is it about the Arctic?
I'm sure it is, but I'm sure there's more to it than that. I couldn't make it past 20 minutes of I tried twice. You're the first person I heard who said she didn't like it. I mean, I don't know. Everybody I heard from was a guy, so maybe it was a guy's show or something like that. I don't know. Did I not read that right in the first place? I think I knew what you meant.
How much wine have you had?
No, I think I'm right on with what she was saying. I completely overlooked any typo she said she had.
I also want to say hi to Clifton 3D, who is my guest on Thursday Things next week.
Yep, absolutely. You are watching Real Time with Bill Maher. Yeah, I heard... Oh, no, that was a different host. Never mind. Rep Adam Schiff and Seth MacFarlane were on.
Cool. I like Seth MacFarlane.
I'm starting to like him less and less. There's certain things he should probably just avoid talking about, and I think a lot of celebrities should really have no opinions on. They should subscribe to the Dolly Parton school of politics. She says, I'm an actress, and I'm a singer, and occasionally a comedian. Nobody follows me for my politics. That's why I don't talk about politics. That's not what I do. Don't ask me. I will not tell you. She's just a class act. You can guess where she falls politically, but she won't tell you, and she won't talk about it. And
that's her right.
I respect the hell out of that. I really do. I get a little loose with my opinions because this is when Netter says y'all are like family. I really do believe y'all are like family, and if we disagree, that's fine. And I would have a lot of fun, going to getting into the little verbal brawl with you and debating. But I believe you guys are all secure and intelligent enough to disagree with me, and then be okay with that, and still respect me for I have my opinion, but there's other things that we have in common. Yeah. I think that I like a lot of the work that Seth MacFarlane does, but he's I think like CK said, he's an insensitive asshole about certain things, and that's it's just what there comes a point where you just need to think through. Just because this is what I believe, do I need to share it? Does it build people up? Does it help people, or does it just piss people off unnecessarily?
I feel sometimes people overshare.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And discretion is the better part of valor sometimes, right?
And that, Clifton, he says that's how it... I realize that I have to read these out loud because I'm starting to realize that on some YouTube streams, maybe it's just because they don't bring up the comments that they're talking about. If you're not live, you're not seeing the comments. That's how it used to be, Troy. It is only recently that you have to agree on everything. Yeah, and it's like there was this great Monty Python sketch, two people talking religion. And you Christian? Yeah, I'm Christian. Oh, well, what branch? What this, what that? And it gets more and more granular, and they're agreeing on everything until they get to one little tiny insignificant element and he says, I'm such and such. You heathen! You should be stoned! It's like, and that's the joke, right? You agree on almost everything. And then, the church that Netta and I used to belong to was strict about things and doctrine, and, there's only one church. But
right.
How do you define what is that one church? Is it just the people that go to, this particular... No, the church is Christianity, and we are all brothers and sisters in Christ. What do we disagree on? If it's something that's fundamental to salvation, based on Scripture, you need to come to agreement about that. And I could even point out the Scriptures that say this, be in agreement on all things, right? But if it's things like, should we allow trumpets to be played during the service in music? Or are we not allowed to play any music at all? Is singing the only way you can have music in service? Or is that not even allowed? These kinds of things, if the Bible is silent on it, there's a lot of churches that say the Bible doesn't authorize it, so you can't do that.
You need to watch the movie, if you get around to it, Jesus Revolution. I recommend that, because that sort of comes up with, like, I think Kelsey Grammer's in it, and he's playing the preacher of the local church, and then hippies start.
Does he try to speak Klingon? I'm sorry.
No, but hippies start showing up, and then, like, the congregation, they don't want the hippies there, and he's like, when he's like thinking, he's like, I can't really turn these people away. These are people wanting salvation. He's like, no, and so
yeah.
And then it's about him kind of becoming flexible, and now he runs his services. It's interesting. You should check it out.
No, I'll definitely check it out. But that's what
truth historical event too.
That's what it came down to as far as the church we belong to. It's like, if they're Christian, you assume they're your brothers in Christ. And if they disagree on some very fundamental element of salvation, debate it with them. Show them the Scripture. Be open to what they show you. If they can convince you, then you come back and you talk to the minister and the elders, and who knows? Maybe we're wrong. Humans are fallible. The word is infallible. So we always have to use that as our standard. That was something I really appreciated about it. But anyway, that's kind of a going off on a tangent there. But Clifton says, I'm kind of jealous of that hat. I can't pull something like that off. Hats are style specific. Here I'm wearing a suit jacket too. I kind of have a little bit of Blues Brothers aesthetic going on here. I did at the beginning of my streaming career, if you want to call it that. I did start with the black Ray-Bans, but you can't do that when you're on camera because you get this glare from the lights, and it's like, okay, that's maybe taking it a bit too far.
Well, there's also the thing that the hat he's wearing is his grandfather's fedora.
That was the other thing. This is my grandfather's fedora. I have always worn it to weddings, to funerals, anytime I would wear a suit, right? But
and then he's got a brown one for casual.
Yeah,
it looks like Indiana
a brown
Jones.
felt one. A brown felt one, yeah.
Yeah.
And because got to protect the chrome dome, you got to stay warm in winter. You got to keep the sun off in summer. And I get a lot of compliments on wearing hats.
The inside of your hat says like who the maker is, so maybe show that. So if they want to try and find it, is that what it is right there? Isn't that the maker at the top?
Towncraft is what it's called. I just realized, though, that it's a little smeared from years of sweat. But I agree, Sin. I agree 100%. Fedoras are cool. I get a lot of compliments on it, especially when we go out and whatnot. And I think more... I hear this all the time. People keep saying, men should wear hats more often. I said, women should too. There's nothing stopping you. The things that are truly timeless and classic may seem anachronistic, but no one is going to look at you like you're weird. They're going to look at you and go, that looks really nice. More people should do that.
Then Clifton says, it's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. But
What
do
is
you
it?
know
What is
whole
the full
quote?
line? Yeah, give us the
Okay.
full line.
We're 106 miles from Chicago. We got full tank of gas, half pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses.
Hit it. Yep. Exactly right.
I've
exactly
seen
right.
the Blues Brothers at least 150 times. It's one of my favorite films.
I
Because
realize
Chicago
that
Girl.
not everybody likes the Blues Brothers.
But I'm a Chicago girl, and it's about my hometown, so when it used to be good.
We're the good old brothers blues.
No, we're the
Good old boys blues
We're the
brothers.
good old Blues Brothers
boys
band
band
from
from
Chicago.
Chicago.
Good old Blues Brothers boys band from Chicago. Yeah.
Chicken wire.
What about Blues Brothers 2000?
We talked about that last night. Check out our stream on
I
for
didn't
Thursday's
like it.
things from last night.
Must have
Yeah,
missed
I tried to like it. I didn't like it.
I didn't call anybody out by name. I don't think I specified you by name. But if you were here last night, you knew who I was talking about. We're putting the band back together. We're on a mission from God. Don't you blaspheme in here. Don't you blaspheme in here.
Funny.
I love that movie. Oh, I really, really do. And see, this is one thing that I have always said, right? We share, you and I, Boomer, we do the good old days on Sundays, right?
Yes.
Because we're trying to share alternatives, things that we enjoyed, things you could look into, and whether it's games or movies or series or whatever. But what you can't communicate is the associations you've made with them. For example, all of you that have followed me long enough know every year I do a Star Wars holiday special rewatch. I have a great deal of nostalgia for it, as terrible as I know it is. And I cannot recommend that show on its merits as fun entertainment. But for me, it's the memories of being a kid, seeing Star Wars on TV at a time when we had no way of knowing if there would ever be another Star Wars movie. We didn't know that Empire Strikes Back was definitely going to happen. This was before the internet with rumors and, news about, something being filmed and a script being rewritten
You had to
and
find
things
these
like
things
that.
called magazines.
Yes, and even then, you're like, is that really real or is that speculation? And even as kids, we kind of knew all that. Do you see the light? Yes, the band, Jesus H. Tap Dancing Christ, I see the light. Oh!
Then you got Aretha Franklin. We got two guys out here dressed like two Hasidic diamond merchants. Well, what do they order? The tall one wants dry toast, Elwood, and the other one wants 4 whole fried chickens and a Coke. Jake! The Blues Brothers! The
what? Blues Brothers? Shit. Oh, I love that. And look, you grew up in Chicago. You knew diners like that. You really, really did. And you knew people like that. That's something you just can't share with, a Southern girl who, reviews, awesome movies that are, award winners that you're never gonna, you may or may not ever get around to seeing. Has a movie ever changed your life? For me, it was, this is interesting, Terminator, which I did a video about. Sounds silly to claim that a movie can change someone's life, but sometimes they do. So, Sin, it's an excellent point you bring up, and I think that's exactly where I want to round out the show tonight. Because that brings me back to the what I see as a very important element in these Korean and other Asian shows and movies that we're talking about here. Now, again, haven't seen Godzilla -1, but my understanding is it's a very character-driven story, and you really care about the people in it, right? And this is a big thing that Hollywood has lost. I don't give a flying F about the guy with the rocket suit or the shield and the hammer and the shrinking abilities, unless I care about the person. DC Comics, or the Snyderverse missed out on this too. I don't give an F about the guy with the big S on his chest that can fly and shoot laser beams if I don't care about Clark Kent. They didn't get that. That's why it didn't go anywhere. And you got all the emo Brightburn people loving the Snyderverse because it's so emo. But the general audience is not inspired by these characters. And every one of these shows that I'm talking about, we're talking about normal people. They don't have a superpower unless you consider happenstance causing them to time travel back in time to be a superpower. Yes, they use that advantage to change their life, to enrich themselves, right? And maybe try to help somebody else along the way. That's inspirational. And we have lost that. Because they are so much more focused on the message, the message, the message. They want to teach and preach to you whatever ESG bullshit they want to get across. And yet, for all the gaslighting they've done, well, you just don't like a strong woman. Most of the shows I talked about here had female leads. Asian female leads. They don't look anything like me. They're attractive women, actually, as opposed to, butt ugly men,
Have you noticed in those the Korean drama that we're watching, every single woman, literally every single woman, has flawless skin?
Even the girl that you would think should be less attractive because she's supposed to be heavier, she's kind of gluttonous. She's gorgeous.
And flawless skin.
Yeah, and flawless skin, absolutely.
It's like, I want to be Korean in my next life because they got flawless skin.
I think a lot, there's some of it's genetics, but I think a lot of it's diet too. So, I mean, there's that element of it too. But, yeah. And, and that's the other thing. The friend, very attractive woman, but not attractive in her character.
Yeah.
She does that, and you see it with a lot of Japanese female characters too. They act younger than they are. They act like children. But in the same way, her future husband, her ex-past, I don't know. It gets confusing when you're talking about time travel. He acts like a big man-child too. So it's like they exaggerate that, and it's really hard to have respect for people like that. I remember back in 2005 hearing about a third Blues Brothers. Some people said was going to be a prequel. Others stated it was going to be about Buster Blues. Oh, that's interesting. The problem is that because Blues Brothers 2000 tanked so badly, that was never going to happen. I hate to do this, but need to go to bed. Dude, that's perfectly okay. Yeah. By all means, the stream's going to be up. You can always catch up on it. Come back, drop a comment maybe. And I'd ask that of all of you guys. If you think of, especially Korean, Japanese, Chinese, any Asian, and that would include, I suppose, technically India is part of Asia too, right? If you can think of anything that, actually, now that I think about it, Russia is Asian too. So if you think of any Eastern stories, streaming shows, movies that you think we'd really like, drop it, in the comments, and we'll check them out.
Born to Fight from Thailand. That's a good one.
There you go. Great one.
You know what it's about? It's about the Olympic hopeful team doing battle with terrorists in a small town.
I am going to try
like soccer balls to stop the terrorists.
I think we'll do another one of these streams, and I will I will try to get a guest on to talk about some Norwegian and Swedish and those Scandinavian countries doing some really good movies too, and possibly shows. I've seen a couple, and well, he's from Norway, so I mean he's good, he's probably gonna know a lot more than I would. So that might be a good stream too. But this was just to wrap up. The best shows inspire you. They enlighten you. They definitely do. As Sin said, I think, who was it? Some conservative commentator said that culture is politics is downstream from culture, right? And I think that is. I think they underplay that. I think it's. We mentioned this last night with Sin too. The stories we tell shape our society. And that literally goes back to when we were living in caves, drawing pictures on the wall by firelight and telling stories, right? The Greek myths and, all of the archetypes and so forth. These have shaped us, right? The monomyth, right? The hero's journey. Mm-hmm. This is why the cultural vandals want to destroy it. They're literally trying to destroy our society and culture and rebuild it from scratch. They're trying to write propaganda to change our culture. That's what these shows and films are that they're making here in the West. That we call them woke, but they are insidious propaganda, specifically intended to try to change, us into, step in line socialists. And this is why there is in our guts, because of how we were raised, we're not interested. It doesn't inspire us, right? We can't necessarily verbalize it, but we want to. We want a Saving Private Ryan. We want a Rudy. We want a real Superman, right? And they don't have to look like us. It could be a woman, could be a man, it could be any color, and even their gender preferences don't matter. If they have the qualities that we respect and want to emulate, we'll love those characters. If not, we will walk out of the theater, never see a movie by that director again, and we'll go see something else. And this is all that, 2 weeks ago and today, walk away from the stuff that you don't enjoy. Quit picking at, when you find moldy bread, you can't eat around the mold. You've got to throw out the loaf. When you find the milk spoiled, you don't go, well, I'll just put it back tomorrow and maybe it'll be less chunky tomorrow. No, you throw it out. Okay?
Well,
and this is what
throw it out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I asked Netter to throw it out because I skeeve, But this is kind of what we need to do with Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who. Walk away from it. When the ratings tank, the toys don't sell, and Nelson Peltz comes knocking on your door saying, it's time to start being profitable again. That's the only way change is going to happen. If you keep stuffing popcorn in your face and say, maybe it'll be better tomorrow, I'm kind of enjoying it, you're part of the problem.
Well, people, old habits take time to break, right?
Yeah, and I think this kind of a discussion we had tonight kind of undermines that whole narrative, right? When I'm watching a show that's all about a Korean woman, and I'm rooting for her, and she actually makes me laugh and cheer and cry. Just a little bit. Tell me I'm racist. Tell me I'm sexist. I friggin' dare you. Right? I really friggin' dare you. I mean, hell. When I went and saw The Force Awakens, I thought Finn was going to be the next big Jedi. And I was all for that. Nope. It was the girl boss. Yep. Which I would have been fine with if she'd have been like a Ripley. I
thought she was gonna have an interesting origin and all this other stuff, though. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
It just was, no.
They had to subvert your expectations. Congratulations! My expectation was we were going to get a good hero character. No. You gave me shit. That subverted my expectations.
We got horsies on the gambling planet. Let's let the horsies free. Let the space horsies free.
I hate when people say you have to relate to, whatever the character is. Let me tell you something. Every time they say, I want to see myself on the screen. Da, 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 da. You want to see a blue-haired land whale on the screen? That's what you want to see? Yeah, that movie's going to do real well. But the way I refute it, 3 words. We are Groot.
Groot's the best.
I'm not a tree, but boy, could I relate to that character. And I fell in love with that character, and I cried at the end of that movie.
Yeah, that was sad. That kind of hit you.
Yeah. Anyway, so I think that wraps it up. I think I got my main
Who cried
point
when
across.
Old Yeller died at the end?
Yeah, exactly, right? And if you didn't, you got no heart, Old Yeller's actually a good story. There's another great one. Talk about a lesson.
That's Disney.
Yeah, that's another great one with a great lesson, right? You got to take responsibility. Yeah, it hurts, but you got to man up and do what you got to do.
It's like one of those what would the Vulcan do sort of scenarios, right?
It's funny you say that because, and I don't know if you're still here, Sci-Fi Mambi, but I'll bet you know about this. There was an episode of the Star Trek animated series. I want to call it All Our Yesterdays or something like that. It's a story where Spock goes back in time. Again, another go back in time story. And we get to see Spock as a child. And a lot of the story that we see there has been canonized by mainline Star Trek since then. And there's this story about, we knew this from Journey to Babel, where his mother says something about him having a teddy bear as a child, and McCoy's teddy bear. And he says, well, on Vulcan, a teddy bear is, however many pounds with, 6-inch claws and stuff like that. Well, we get to see what his salat, I believe is what it's called, looked like, and it is a big, bear, right? And the bear is in the storyline is protecting him from an attacking wildcat. I think they're called a Lamatya, and he drives off the Lamatya, but he is mortally wounded in doing it. He's literally given his life to protect Spock. And his father tells him the animal is suffering. The logical thing to do is to end its suffering. And this is a lesson Spock has to learn. It's not only logical, but it is also compassionate. He's dealing with the two parts of his nature. Great lesson, great story, very emotional. And this was in a kid's cartoon, half-hour kids cartoon. That was some great writing back then. So, yeah. This is what good writing is all about, and I guess it still exists. But sometimes you gotta look to the east. You gotta look to maybe some other cultures that are doing it where we're not. We will again talk, whether it's on Netters Network or on this channel, we will get Tom Conkle back for an update on Island in the Stars being filmed in Australia. So again, get outside the United States to get good films made again. We will have good films again, but maybe not for a while here in the States. We got to get our heads out of our collective asses and put an end to DEI, which I see happening through court cases, through companies doing a lot of determinations of people in their DEI areas, but these things take time. So in the near future, starting tomorrow, or for some of y'all, later today, over on Big Al Presents, join Netter and myself over there with Big Al as we diesel punk it up with Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow. I've seen it. Netter may have seen parts of it. We will have a grand time tomorrow over there.
It's a visual feast.
It kind of is. It is very different. A lot of
It does. It uses the same type of effects George Lucas was using in the prequel trilogy, but I think it does a better job with it.
A lot of green screen
Yeah,
type
yeah.
with some
Yeah.
CG and whatnot,
Yeah.
but in a very retroistic kind of way. I know that's not a word. I just made it up, but we'll use it. You guys know what I mean. Plus the sepia tones. It's not quite black and white, but muted colors.
It has that old school feel, like something.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. It makes you feel like you're back in. I almost want to say it's like if you were living in the 30s, what you thought the future would be like.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, that's sort of how I see it.
Retrofuturism is what they call it. So that is tomorrow on Big Al Presents. Sunday, if you're still here, deleted scenes, maybe you want to drop those links, but you're going to be on with Jedi Bill simulcasting the Western cinema, and I cannot remember the name of the movie that you'll be watching, but that's that's Sunday afternoon, or tomorrow afternoon, I suppose, depending on what side of the dateline you're on. And then Geeky Geezers. What are we going to be talking about on Geeky Geezers?
Well, deleted scenes will be on my channel, at least for a portion of it, if not the whole thing.
He's going to be a busy guy on Sunday.
He will be talking about the Oscar nominations, and that'll be our first thing that night. So no good old days that night, but we'll be doing the Oscar. It's all about the good nowadays, with some spectacular movies being nominated, right? Right.
I'll take your word for it. I have no idea what's been nominated. I don't know any of the movies. I almost never followed them anyway. But definitely last.
Let me translate that for you. That means I don't care.
Yeah, she's kind of right. But there'll
be 9 nominations, 3 of which no one's heard of. Right.
Right. Exactly.
Just at any rate, and then we'll be talking about various things and goings-ons. Like the fact that Pixar's Soul re-release did not do well. We missed that last week.
Shocker! I am so surprised I could fall over and die of not surprise.
So that means Turning Red. It doesn't look so good for that one next, right?
I heard that was a period piece.
And then Luca. I think that's the other one they're putting in theaters because he's never got a chance. Remember a while back. Well, I'll talk about it Sunday. Never mind.
My name is Luca. I live on the 2nd floor.
If you think it's about seeing your name on the big screen, you're in the wrong reason for being in the business. Some guy at Pixar said, "Well, what are you doing now? You're putting on the big screen so the guy can see his name." In a movie no one's going to go see on the big screen.
And yes, people, that is a mini fridge next to me that houses our sodas.
Yes.
Well, his soda's my water.
You can actually see it on the.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Couldn't you buy a mini fridge that looked like the Han Solo carbonite thing? Wasn't that available?
No, it's an applique you can put onto your...
I see. Okay.
Usually you do it on a, what's it called? Stainless steel face. Yeah, but yeah, there you go. So that's... Oh, and then, of course, we finish out our weekend at midnight Eastern Time on Sunday with Deleted Scenes, The Other Side of Midnight, which I don't even care what he's talking about. It's just the smooth, mellow, great way to relax and get ready for bed so that you can start a new week. Speaking of the new week, Tuesday, I'm going to be back on. All the people you see here on the panel will be over on Deleted Scenes for another episode of Twin Peaks, live from Sparkwood and 21. Let's hopefully rescue Audrey and get real close to a revelation of who killed Laura Palmer. But there's plenty of other mysteries that we will be exploring as we finish out the season. That will be Tuesday. Thursday, Netter, what is happening on Netter's Network on Thursday?
On Thursday, my guest.
My gift to all of you is the guest.
Yes, my gift to you is my guest, Clifton 3D. And really excited.
Who was here hanging out with us earlier. I don't know if he's still here, but
yeah. And of course, I want to mention that if you would like to be a guest on Thursday Things, I actually have the next 3 weeks open, and then like March and beyond. So I'd love to have you on. My only caveat is that you have a YouTube channel you're trying to grow with your own content. And if actually, I realized that in my last vid, I don't think I had my email address there, so I'm going to drop in the chat. So if you're interested in being a guest on Thursday Things, all you have to do is send me an email, because that's probably the quickest way and easiest way. Send me an email with the header Thursday Things. Tell me what Thursday you want to be on, and I'll put you on my calendar.
Yep. PJ says, together we grow, and that is what we're all about here. We believe that we are not in competition with any YouTube channels, because rising tide raises all ships. So we want to raise you up, and hopefully maybe we benefit from that a little bit too. So, and that brings us around to next Friday, where I have no idea what the topic is, but I intend to get plastered and enjoy hanging out with you peeps, because honestly, this is the highlight of my week. You guys are the highlight of my week. You guys keep encouraging me, and just like Netter feeding the squirrels, they keep coming back, because I'll keep coming back as long as you keep feeding me the encouragement. Speaking of which, the link is at the top. If you want to buy me next week's drink, please make sure, if your name is different, if it appears in your payment method, if it comes up your real name, let me know what your YouTube handle is so I can make that connection.
Yeah, because we don't want to dox anybody.
Right, exactly.
And I did drop my email address in the chat. I think it's the latest chat. So make a note of it. If you're interested in being a guest on Thursday Things, so just put Thursday Things in the header of your email. Tell me what week you want to be on, and I'm happy to book you.
And that's all I got. Boomer, any last thoughts, any last words, anything I missed, any shows you forgot to mention?
No, but like I said, just keep looking for them. They keep making more of them. So
yeah, if you come up with something we didn't think of, let us know. Drop a comment down below, and we're always looking for something, because there ain't a lot coming out of the current networks. So yeah. No. I'm sorry, Nate. I couldn't do it while we were doing the stream. If you posted them, sent them to me on Insta, I will do that tomorrow, and maybe I'll run it for a week, and I will comment on the socials throughout the week to solicit some feedback on those. Okay. Sorry if I wasn't clear about that, but yeah, I get too foggy and I got too much going on during the stream to do it during the stream. But we'll get everybody. Always remember to keep an eye on the community tab. I don't use it much, but when I do, I'm looking for some interaction and feedback from y'all. So please, yeah. And as Sin says later, I hope everyone has a great weekend. And as Netter says,
well, I want to make sure that y'all are subscribed to the panel, as well as everyone in the chat. And if you think you're subscribed to any of us, please go back and double check that you are still subscribed to us, because YouTube likes to take away subs. We all know that. So just, double check that you're still subbed, because together we do grow. And with that said, we can talk amongst ourselves, and that's all well, good, and fun. But it is so much more fun when you guys are joining us in the chat, and you're dropping your comments, questions, trivia, being goofy, whatever it may be. And it doesn't feel like we're separated by miles or continents in some cases. It feels like we're all hanging out in the same room. We're enjoying each other's company and having a great time. And you guys, you're not just our friends. We say this all the time. You're not just our friends. You are our family. And you can choose to be anywhere right now. And you chose to be here. That is so encouraging. I love seeing you guys every week and on all of our shows. We got our regulars. Occasionally we'll see new faces. Hey, Mark, Kapla.
Hey, Mark. Glad you're here, but you're going to have to rewind and watch from the beginning, because we were really just wrapping up here.
Yes. But I was just saying, you guys are our family. In fact, he's one of our Klingon brothers.
Yep.
And we really do enjoy seeing you here every week. It is really encouraging to see you here. I want you guys to make sure you take care of yourselves, take care of your families, give everybody a hug. Even though you may not like your sibling or whatever, give them a hug, because they can always use one.
and there's no guarantee you get any do-overs, so you only get one shot.
That's why it's like, call your mom, call your dad, somebody you haven't talked to in a while, give them a call, just say hi, because you may not have that chance later. So thank you for being here again. Good night and God bless.
There you go. My last thoughts are the three eternal truths of Robert Barnes. Sally Yates is corrupt. Epstein did not kill himself. Rittenhouse is innocent. That last one, take it as a white pill. Thank you guys so much. You guys really are awesome. I'm not just blowing smoke up your asses when I say this really is the highlight of my week. I look forward to it all the time. So, like Netter said, thank you. God bless, and hope to see you on the next one. Salute.
Good night, ladies.
Good night, sir.
Hit it, sweetheart.